Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, episode number 92 today for the Monaco Grand Prix in Season 6, the jewel in the Formula 1 calendar. Always a very intriguing one, because the walls are that much closer, and so the chaos and jeopardy may be that much closer. But if you guys did miss the previous episode at Portimao, the Portuguese Grand Prix on its return to the calendar for this season, then be sure to go check that previous episode out before you see this one, because that one, well, unbelievable FIA, unbelievable. That's all I had to say at the end of that one. And well, spoiler alert, it was a really great day for a certain Italian in the Red Bull Porsche. Antonio Giovinazzi, after moving to Red Bull last season and emerging as one of the new stars this in the series, this season he continues his good progress and good performances. He leads the Drivers' Championship and has 2 wins back-to-back now from Imola to Portugal. Bottas still in a very strong second place, you must say, scoring pretty much majority, well, yeah, pretty much, apart from one measly point for Verstappen. Bottas is beating Verstappen by 42 points, which is quite unbelievable to be honest, because I really thought it was going to be another case of Verstappen wiping the floor with a teammate. You know, he was obviously dominating Hamilton. We know how poor Hamilton's AI has been in this career mode series. So I thought maybe, you know, there's half a chance Bottas does better, because Bottas as an AI has actually been very good in the series, but not this good. And it's a very weird one for Verstappen. He's all, you know, what's up with the silver arrows? They can't seem to have both drivers firing at all cylinders in our career mode save files. Like ever since season 2, one of them has to be doing horrendously, and so this season it seems like it's Verstappen's turn. We had a similar story at Red Bull with, you know, Giovinazzi emerging as the team leader now last season, and Schumacher did very poorly, but this season, not too bad in 3rd place. The Red Bulls actually look like such a strong pairing, and, you know, apart from ourselves, with myself and Russell in the top 6, they're the only other team with both their drivers at the sharp end of the standing. So it's, you know, very early days still, only round 4 of the season, but it seems like Red Bull are going to be finally a real contender for the first time, well, since like, I don't know, like season 2 or 3 really. But actually for the majority of this entire career mode series on this game, Red Bull have not actually been there. In terms of how our season's going, it's a bit up and down, to be honest. I know we have a quick car because clearly, you know, it's got the pace over 1 lap to get, you know, 2 pole positions so far in the season, and race pace has actually been very, very good. It's just unfortunate myself and Russell have faced, you know, a few obstacles, adversity, you know, a little bit of bad luck in some cases in the races. I think you'll agree with me on that one on the last episode. I think it was unlucky in the way the game just worked out with that blue flag situation under the safety car. You know, Russell unlucky at Imola. So it's not really come our way, but the car is frustrating because the car is clearly just right there. We just need to put the pieces together. But saying that, it's not even been a horrendous season so far, because both of us are in the top 6, you know, because with the grid being so tight together, you just need a little bit of consistency, which ourselves and Red Bull have had, and we're both, you know, both teams are there. So even though I felt like we've been a bit hard done by in the previous 2 episodes, we're still, you know, performing relatively decently, and the car is there for us. We know that, which is a great thing. It's great to know that every single race we're turning up to, we should be able to try and put it all together to try and be at the top spots in qualifying and the race. We come into Monaco then, overcast conditions a little bit, so there might be a bit of rain around, so we're going to go straight away out the garage then to try and set a lap time in case the rain starts to fall. But you know, historically in this game, I've struggled actually for a bit of race pace around Monaco. It's been a tougher race really for me to even get close to a race win. So could season 6 finally be the moment we kind of crack it? As we dance the car around a couple of last corners, a little bit iffy on the rear end, but that's just Monaco. It's always quite oversteery, and we cross the line for what I thought was a pretty decent lap time, and it does look a bit doom and gloom. You know, the lights are out around Monaco, because if it gets overcast enough, it almost looks like a night race here on the game, because of the kind of fake lighting they put in for the night race ability, obviously in Grand Prix mode. But in the end of it, everyone improved quite a fair bit, but I literally just did 1 lap, went out there, and it was enough to get us through into Q2, so that's all that matters. Obviously, we'll warm up and heat up a little bit into the next session, but Russell looking quick, quite actually considerably ahead of Gasly. If you look at the rest of the gaps, it's so unbelievably reasonably close. Lotus Renault up there in the top 10 with Drogovic in P7 then. The Ferraris look about there with AlphaTauri and, well, one of the Red Bulls of Giovinazzi in there. Mercedes flagging a little bit, and both Williams cars were knocked out. Again, like Imola, they had a howler on Saturday, so it's going to be a lot harder for them, especially Guan Yu Zhou, to do what he did in Imola and get up into a podium from being knocked out of Q1 there. So I don't know what's going on this season with Williams. You know, they've enjoyed 2 seasons of being one of the top teams fighting for many points, you know, podiums consistently, but this season, at least on Saturday, they seem a bit slow or just aren't getting it operationally correct, and then on Sunday they can kind of recover, but this one may be a lot harder for them. Still a bit of odd cloud cover around Monaco in Q2, but the sun is coming out, so it looks like the rain that was in the forecast may be staying away now, thankfully for us, because I'd rather have a dry Monaco weekend, to be honest, and we go across the line another quick lap, at least at the time of us setting it, but I believe everyone else obviously is still due to put their laps in, and there you go. George Russell is, well, is actually looking quite ominous here. I'd be surprised if he wasn't right up there in Q3. Both sessions he's topped. So, he got pole at Portimao, but it didn't go his way in the race. He had no race pace last episode. So, he's kind of seeming determined to make up for it, it would seem, here today at Monaco. And, you know, obviously there's the best place to be on pole position if he was to get it, because it's the most important qualifying of the entire season. Track position is king around here. But the two AlphaTauri right up there, looking very strong. Both Lotus Renaults made it through. Schumacher knocked out. Both McLarens out, and Bottas is out. So Verstappen maybe heard me earlier again about that performance, because again, he does it in qualifying, but then in the race, that's going to be another question mark for Verstappen. Can he convert that top 10 into some decent points finally this season? Probably so, you would say, actually, promisingly for him, because Monaco is Monaco. It's very hard to overtake, so even with tyre wear and chaos involved, I think Verstappen should be fine, but we'll have to see. But both Lotus Renaults being in the top 10, and both McLarens, the reigning world champions, the team champions, out of Q2. That is a big shocker and turn of events. Meanwhile, we go for our first flyer, and at the moment, quicker than Giovinazzi, Leclerc, Drogovic, and Carlos Sainz then. So that's very good. But Russell comes in with a quicker time. So Russell beats us at the moment, and I believe he is on provisional pole position. We go down a few spots. Everyone now is going out for their second and last flying lap here around the Principality. So your running order is Russell from Ocon, the Frenchman in the Ferrari on the front row. Gasly P3. We're on the second row as it stands in P4, but we're going down the order. P5, Leclerc gets in there. We're still being Giovinazzi, but now he may have... Oh my God! Oh, we spin it into the swimming pool section. It was going well for us. Purple first sector, green the second, but the front end got away from us initially, and then the rear end just bit and snap away, and then Monaco bites back. Thankfully, though, for us, in terms of the mechanics and whatnot, there's no major damage to the car. That won't be an overnight job, but it's just a bit of disappointment because, you know, purple first sector, green second, you would say release on to, you know, improve towards, again, staying on the second row minimum, towards that front row maybe with a purple first sector, but no, it's not going to be. We will remain down in P6. George Russell, back-to-back pole positions for him, and this one will be one of the most important poles you get this season. He's on the front row alongside Esteban Ocon, though, does really well for Ferrari. Sainz, the, you know, more senior man, flagging a little bit in P7 then. The two Lotus Renaults, they did so well to get into the top 10, but then just no... Well, actually, they still performed pretty well. They're actually very close to Max Verstappen there. It's just the fact that everyone was so much quicker. So you can actually see the whole top 10, you know, everyone's separated, you know, position to position by only a couple of, you know, hundredths there. So that's actually really exciting for everyone involved. The two AlphaTauris looking decent, but operationally, they've been so poor this season to the fact that they're still behind, you know, the likes of Ferrari, ourselves, Mercedes, and Red Bull in the championship, despite, you know, on pace in qualifying, being always up there with Gasly and Leclerc, and the current championship leader, Giovinazzi, up there in the top 3, showing wisely in the championship, ever consistent. So for us, we have some making up to do for that error in qualifying in Q3. Let's go to the grid.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino, first opened in 1863. And, of course, a certain road race, first held here in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco then. It's not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo, and although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the rundown into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. George Russell will begin today's event from pole position, and it's Esteban Ocon in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Giovinazzi, Gasly, Charles Leclerc, the owner driver, Sainz, Verstappen, Drugovich, and Christian Lundgaard, Mick Schumacher, Aitken, Lando Norris and Bottas, Tsunoda, Stroll, and Guan Yu Zhou and Nobuharu Matsushita, Hamilton, Eilert, Tigtum, and Marcus Armstrong. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
No excuses really for what happened in Q3. We could have been on for, minimum, I'd say, second row, you got to say, alongside Gasly or Leclerc, and then maybe even the front row with that purple. So we've got to make up for it today. It's going to be hard, though, because, it is difficult to overtake. As the games have gone on over the years, the AI have gotten better and better at defending, so it gets harder and harder to do a bit of a madness at Monaco, and we've yet to be anywhere close to winning this Grand Prix. I'm hoping we can do something today, but it's going to be hard, I'm not going to lie. Strategy-wise, it says a 1-stop, but that looks like an awfully long time to go on mediums or hard, so I suspect the tyre wear may force other people to think about what we do. But from P6, we know it's going to be a real hard graft today around the Principality, but it's time to go to the Monaco Grand Prix. The race every driver wants to try and win. Here we go to 5 red lights, and we're underway in Monaco. It's a slow start for the home favourite Leclerc. We go across to the right-hand side due to some oversteer, but that actually allows us to send it down the inside, and now we're banging tyres with our former teammate from last year in the AlphaTauri. Now Leclerc on the inside, we're on the outside. He'll turn to the inside though, the Casino Square. We are inches away from making further contact with Leclerc as we go down into Mirabeau. We get across the racing line and we're up into P5, and Ocon is into the lead. I didn't see that, but the Ferrari leads from Russell. Giovinazzi, Gasly, now Dan Ticktum's out. The Haas's have had an issue. Marcus Armstrong's out. That's called out the full course safety car. Lap 1, it's happened immediately, and there's a massive pile-up, and the two Haas's have made contact, along with, I think, one of the Aston Martins is that, and, down towards Mirabeau, that's a virtual safety car turning into a full safety car, because that is a very dangerous pile-up, and there's no way to avoid that. But look at this start then from the Scuderia in red. Esteban Ocon, what a getaway from him, off second place, and he's up into first place, and Russell loses pole position. He'll be fuming at that. Meanwhile, for us, 1 position gain before the safety car, so now we're in an AlphaTauri sandwich here. Gasly ahead of us, Leclerc behind as we get going once again for Green Racing as we're on to lap 4 now. Can we have a look to the inside bit? Kind of over-ambitious there, but just trying to hustle and harry the car a little bit. Keep Gasly on his toes, If he looks in the mirrors, just know that we're, looking for the right opportunity, and it may come as we now enter the end of lap 4 on towards 5 in the last sector. We're looking pretty quick through here. Gasly slow. He locks up. The Frenchman under pressure. We go for the infamous Raskas dive bomb. Tiny graze of his floor there on the left-hand side, but all in all, make it work, and we're up into P4. It's a great overtake, and now we've got clean air to chase after the championship leader, Antonio Giovinazzi, but Russell in second and Ocon looking pretty comfortable out there in the Ferrari, I must say. You know, Russell's putting him under pressure. There's a larger gap than to Giovinazzi, so those two are kind of pulling away a little bit in their own world, and we're trying to catch up with Giovinazzi and try and join him for the battle for third place. Meanwhile, behind, Gasly and Leclerc still stay put. Verstappen still in 7th place, and then Sainz, and then the two Lotus Renaults in the top 10 ahead of both Mercedes cars and the Red Bull of Mick Schumacher. So that's quite something. Lotus Renault will be very happy with how the race is going so far, you got to say. But Bottas in P15. It was a tough day in the office for him being knocked out earlier in Q2, and obviously this is a very hard place to overtake. So, you know, I may have just commentator's curse jinxed him at the start of this episode, bigging him up so much versus Verstappen. This may be an episode where he regains some points for the Dutchman. Meanwhile, you've got the both Williams cars also down there, P17, 18. Guan Yu Zhou no higher than where he qualified, so it's going to be a long old afternoon for everyone who didn't quite get it done in Q1 and Q2. Meanwhile, for us, we've got some good pace there. Green second and third sector. We're now within 1 second of Giovinazzi. For the first time, we have DRS off the Italian, but I'm going to choose lap 7 to pull the trigger early and come in for the medium compound, because I believe, looking at the tyre wear, I think it's going to be a two-stop, or I think we could do better on the two-stop. Now, we tried it before in the past, and it's not really worked out, but the difference is we've got probably the quickest car we've ever had in the series now. Myself and Russell looking punchy, so I think we can do some good work on a more aggressive strategy. But the front wing needs changing. Where did that happen? I had no damage, no inkling of damage. I was actually keeping up with Giovinazzi. I was pulling away from the AlphaTauri, so I don't even know if that was even necessary. I don't know if my team even needed to do that. I don't think we even had damage, because I was setting green sectors, catching up and keeping up with Gio, who's, you know, no slouch. So that was, well, we'll never know really, because what's done is done. Our team took a precautionary front wing change, maybe, I don't know. We're onto a set of medium tyres now in clean air, and already setting purple sectors, purple laps. So I believe this strategy is going to work out for us. We finally have a car quick enough as we absolutely launch one down the inside of the BMW Sauber of Matsushita. We're up into P18, but the pace is so good at the moment. I think we have a car that can do a two-stop around Monaco. The only thing that's going to hamper us is traffic, like we're about to catch now. Look at the mini-map. That is a disgusting sight on the mini-map. So we need to clear these cars as quickly as we can. We've been quick so far in clean air, but now this is the real challenge of doing the two-stop. Can we continue to show green sectors minimum whilst overtaking cars? We're going to send one down the inside of Lewis Hamilton, out the tunnel, Sergio Perez-esque from 2013 in the McLaren days, and we get Hamilton up into P17. Guan Yu Zhou, the next car, making progress, and the Williams car is pretty decent in the straight line, so that's really actually quite good of us to do that. Now, Guan Yu Zhou, can we do something in Raskas? He's a bit slow on the inside. He opens up the door for the overtake on the outside, maybe into the final corner. Oh, Guan Yu Zhou hits the curb. He hits the corner, the rail guard, and Hamilton's done it as well. As we go through the two Williams cars, as they both take themselves out the Grand Prix. That was unreal. What the hell was that? That was amazing. What have I just watched there? I saw Guan Yu Zhou ahead of me take himself out, and as we reversed, Hamilton took himself out on this same curb. That was, well, mental. 2 more DNFs now. Both Williams out of this Grand Prix. That's such a shame for them. And this is a replay then. We were nowhere near Guan Yu Zhou. He just did that all on himself. And then Hamilton, look at that. Oh, that angle shows that Hamilton took out his own rear right tyre by going too close to the wall. But look at this. I was already locking up to give Guan Yu Zhou all the room in the world. And look how unbelievably close this is. His car vaulted up in the air and it still didn't hit us. You know how lucky we are to still be in this race. I mean, even the BMW nearly hit us as we reversed to try and get through Hamilton and Zhou. That is amazing. We were literally pixels away from either breaking our front wing, or because it's simulation damage and the speed Guan Yu Zhou's car was going into that wall and vaulting, that could have been a DNF. Meanwhile, ahead of us, under the safety car, Russell's made a pit stop under the safety car and got got ahead of Ocon. So Russell has re-overtaken the Ferrari and effectively will be in the race lead once the others ahead of him make their first pit stops. Because you got the leaders effectively of Russell, Ocon, Giovinazzi and myself. We are in the traffic now because others are yet to pit. And unfortunately, due to the safety car timing, we're actually behind Gasly now once again. So that's really frustrating. So not only did the undercut not really work for us, the safety car then is a bit of a double whammy. So we're now back down the order behind Gasly. Again, still with the AlphaTauris. We can't get rid of them right now. Gasly, though, slow into La Rascas, and we're going to try and go around the outside like we did against Guan Yu Zhou this time. Look at the difference there. Gasly does not hit the wall. He can actually drive into that right-hander and take a proper racing line. And now we go around the outside into turn one. Very unorthodox place to make an overtake, but we've done it. The traction wins out for us there. It's a real satisfying overtake to do him around the outside, and we're up into P7, and we can now chase after the Italian in the Red Bull once again. It's, well, Russell up in P2 then. Jack Aitken and Schumacher, the odd, and Bottas, the odd drivers out yet to pit in this Grand Prix, but effectively it'll still be Russell, Ocon, Giovinazzi and myself in the top four once those three drivers make their pit stop. And at the moment, before they make their pit stop, they're actually backing Ocon and Giovinazzi into me, and you can see in the mini-map that Russell and Schumacher are pulling away in 1 and 2. Giovinazzi a bit slow. We have a little bit of a half look into turn one, kind of like we did with Gasly, hustling and harrying Giovinazzi right to left very aggressively, and there's a bit of room, there's a bit of tyre rubbing as Giovinazzi opens the door, then closes it, and we do make a little bit of contact there. It's close stuff, and I check my vehicle condition because I've got PTSD now from that front wing change that I don't think was necessary in the first pit stop, just to check we don't have damage. We don't. My engineer said no, so just, but that's going to be something I need to do now for the rest of this race when we're wheel to wheel with someone. Just check, because I'm still convinced we didn't need to change the front wing in the first stint, because I really had the same pace as Gio after overtaking Gasly. I don't know whether I maybe knocked the front wing, you know, after the overtake, you know, on the wall or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, you can see Schumacher and Russell pulling away then. 4.2 the gap is to Jack Aitken, so this is not great news for Ocon, Gio or myself. Bottas and Aitken are really doing a number on us in terms of the gap to the cars ahead, and they're still going on for a further lap, on to lap 19 this is such a long stint for those guys. Giovinazzi with DRS, we've got DRS and we're quicker. We've dived it around the outside. Could it be 2 for 2 on the outside of turn one? It's going to be a drag race up the hill between the two Porsche powered cars. The Red Bull on the outside, Gio doing so well, both of us doing very well to still be side by side through every apex. Tiny bit of tyre banging into Mirabeau. Gio with a massive lunge, and he almost squeezes us into the wall there, but ultimately it's a very, very tasty and respectful battle between myself and the man leading the championship. I mean, remember last season, Giovinazzi and myself had some decent battles last season, and you know, we became quite friendly, I think, because he did me a favour last season a few times, winning Grand Prix, taking points away from my now teammate George Russell in that championship fight, if you remember. And so, you know, from last season, I think you guys even also had some decent respect for Giovinazzi for what he did for us last season. And so now he's one of our fierce competitors, but it's staying all nice and friendly and, you know, respectful there. That's really great to see, and that was awesome. That was awesome. We were side by side for practically half a lap of Monaco, which is not easy to do in the slightest. Meanwhile, Schumacher comes in. Aitken and Bottas still don't, though. So Russell now, 4.3. He's just going to stretch his legs and run away now as Aitken and Bottas hold us up. It's only now lap 22. We're in clean air, and Gio and Ocon finally can now show some of their true pace here, and in doing so, we're finding it tricky to keep up with Giovinazzi, absolutely. But now there's a McLaren in the wall. Lando Norris has hit the wall, and the Aston nearly makes contact as well, but Lando Norris has got it all crossed up. Sonoda as well, maybe in an instant with Schumacher. Elsewhere in the circuit, Aitken out the Grand Prix. They're all going down like flies. Lando Norris confirmed to be out. Oh, Leclerc's out as well. The home favourites. What's happened to him? He's not even crashed. He's had a random mechanical failure at the same time as Lando crashing in Sector 3. Unbelievable. We've only got 10. What? We've only got 10 runners now at Monaco. Everyone who finishes this race now is going to score points. This is absolutely biblical scenes. What is going on here in the Principality? We're now under the third safety car of the afternoon, and we've got quite a decent amount of laps left, so we're going to pit under this safety car. We were going to do a 2-stop anyway, but we were going to maybe pit around lap 30. Now we're going to pit lap 23, put on another set of medium tyres, which maybe looks a bit odd, but we may as well take the free pit stop and go to the end on mediums. For this many laps, we can definitely go to the end on mediums. And we've only lost, what, like 2 positions there to P6, but the difference is now we're on fresh mediums. Everyone ahead of us is on the same mediums or hards they were on since the last pit stop, and they're all, I think, going to the end. Everyone is trying a 1-stop. We're the only man doing a 2-stop, and so we're effectively doing what Red Bull and Verstappen do a lot of the time in real life, what they did to Hamilton so many times last season, is making that extra pit stop under a safety car and basically just throwing the dice in case something happens. And so even if something doesn't happen, we can just give it a good stab on fresh tyres, because, you know, we've got so many laps now, and with the safety car will bunch up, and we are on now, you know, a good 10 laps fresher medium tyres and only 2 overtakes, and we're basically where we were already behind Giovinazzi. So we've thrown the dice. Let's see. Russell, though, still leads the way from Ocon, Gio, but oh, Russell slow! Oh, what's happened? Ocon's into the lead. Russell just let the Ferrari through, and now he's cut the corner. He's parking up. George Russell from the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix is out. Oh my God, further drama at Monaco. There's only 9 runners. This is ridiculous. Esteban Ocon now, the Ferrari leads the way from Gio, Verstappen in the Mercedes, Stroll, and now we're up into P5. We're the only car left in our team. Russell out of the Grand Prix under a safety car here to retire from first place, and he gets his first DNF of the season. We had one in the first round, but here we go, going to green on toward lap 26, and there's only 9 cars in this race as we look to send it round the outside of the Aston Martin. We switch back left to right. It's a textbook move. We get the overtake. Look at the traction already versus the Aston. So the fresh mediums already, you can see, are playing a part here today. We've got about 13 laps left of this Grand Prix. We overtake Verstappen, and we're there. We're behind Gio once again, and we've even gained one more free position because of Russell. So this 2-stop strategy may just play into our favour. Dare I say it, could we be on to be going for our first ever Monaco Grand Prix race win in like forever on the F1 game? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much quite yet. We first have to pass Verstappen and Giovinazzi and then Ocon. And, well, Verstappen we know can be a very difficult man to overtake, and Gio has done so well this race so far at defending us in that second stint. Verstappen's quite good off turn 1. He's being a bit of a nuisance for us, a bit of a hurdle to try and get past, and Verstappen defends really well. We make a bit of contact trying to go down the inside, and once again getting PTSD and checking from my front wing. We have no damage, that's all fine, but Verstappen's so slow on these worn mediums. I can just tell we have the better traction, but we just need to find a place to make the overtake, maybe through the tunnel at the exit here. Can we get a good enough launch? We get the power down, right foot to the floor, ERS deploying. Verstappen, where's he going to go? We're going to go to the inside. Verstappen doesn't defend too much. We go wheel to wheel. He cuts across the curb, and Verstappen maintains the position for now, but we get great traction. We go down the inside at to back, and it's amazing. We get through just before the swimming pool chicane up into P3. It's a very ballsy place to pass it to back there, but we made it work up into P3, lap 29. 10 laps to go, and we're in P3 now. We're the quickest man on track, but now we've got to try and overtake the championship leader, Antonio Giovinazzi. He's already defended against us so well, and we have a little half look down the inside there, but thought better of it, because it's going to be difficult to overtake this man, because he's fast become one of the best drivers on this grid, like no cap through the last season or so, and he's such a hard man to overtake here today around Monaco. We're having a look around the outside of the hairpin, left, right, outside. We just can't find the room. Can we find the traction here? ERS deploying through the tunnel. Gio opens up the door, bit of contact, but we make it through. We're side by side of the apex of the tunnel and now into the chicane, left and right across the curb. Giovinazzi, though, does so well, and we get a dose of oversteer and have to make sure we don't career the car into the wall on the right-hand side. So we have to fight again. Lap 31 now. The laps are tumbling down, and Giovinazzi's doing so well at defending this position down the inside now. We try and force him wide. He cuts the curb. He comes across us again, and we get oversteer the exact same corner as last time, and he's able to stay ahead in P2. The championship leader, you can see why he's in the championship. He's such a hard cookie to crack here. He is doing unbelievably well to defend second place, and in doing so is allowing Ocon to walk away with this race win maybe. He's 4 seconds up the road in the Ferrari, but you can see the Red Bull is struggling in a straight line. He's struggling on traction, and we get an almighty launch off turn 1. Can we force a move through on the outside at Casino? We're inches away from probably breaking our front wing on the right hand side. That was so unbelievably sketchy, but we go again through the tunnel. We have better traction once more, third time lucky versus the Italian in the Red Bull Porsche. On the outside, we're really late on the brakes, but Gio comes back at us again. We're side by side on the exit. We're banging tyres, but we're through. Finally up into P2, but my god, that was the battle of the race, maybe even of this season with Giovinazzi. What a race that was with him. That was so tough. I've never found an AI that difficult to overtake, on any game. But now 7 laps to go, 4.8 the gap is, and we just get our head down and push as hard as we can. And now we are here on the second last lap of the Grand Prix, lap 38. And we're going to stick with this until the end of the Grand Prix. We've got 2 laps left. We're now, for the first time, within a second of Esteban Ocon, and a second within winning the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on fresher tyres, but this is Monaco. If you have track position and you place your car correctly, you can defend. And remember, even though Ocon's tyres are more worn out than mine, I am now going to start facing some tyre wear. So you'll see, I said a green first sector, but the last lap was actually a red sector in the last 2. So although I've been catching Ocon, I'm not setting personal best lap times anymore, but we're pressing on, and we're now just about 6/10 behind the Frenchman in the Ferrari. This is so close. This is going to be maybe a last lap overtake attempt if we want to try and win this race. This also may be Ferrari's best chance to win a race early doors in this season. They've had somewhat the performance on a Saturday, but once again, like they have in the previous couple of seasons in this career mode series, they've not had the luck, not had the operational prowess, or even the performance in the race and the tyre wear to go the distance and get those race wins and convert some good qualifyings. But this could be Ocon's best chance to get a race victory, and Ferrari's early on this season, like I said. But we are here, but it's just now a bit of stalemate. You know, it's one thing to catch a car, it's another thing to pass it. 5/10 the gap into Mirabeau as late as we can, but you can see I'm now getting a bit of understeer being behind Ocon so close up, like we had with Giovinazzi. It took us a few laps, but look at the amount I'm having to turn the wheel just to get the nose in there. It's really, I completely missed the apex there on that right-hander. As we go through the tunnel, we're nowhere near Esteban Ocon. I think the Frenchman has maybe done enough. This was the place I wanted to try and overtake him. We're so close to his rear end. We're 3/10 behind. I went so late on the brakes. We nearly tapped his gearbox, but it's no use. We're 2/10 behind Ocon. 1/10 behind Ocon nearly as we entered the swimming pool for a moment there. But it's just no use. Ocon holds strong through the final 2 corners. We were so close, but Esteban Ocon is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix for Ferrari. We come home in second place, the closest we have been to a race win at Monaco for absolutely ages. What a Grand Prix. 9 finishes, 3 safety cars and a podium. Mad.
Here's our winner, pulling their Ferrari into Parc Fermé. What a fantastic race it was. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
But staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In the race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, you were able to guarantee a good result by basically keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again.
Well, Ferrari have maybe arrived this season. Who knows if this is going to be consistent and a sign of things to come this season, but a win's a win. Ocon wins in Formula 1 for Ferrari. We're in second place. I'm happy to be on the podium at Monaco, to be honest, but also gutted. I mean, to be honest, if you really think about it, the fighting Giovinazzi did with us, that was what really did it for us. We would have probably won this race by a lap or two beforehand if we weren't fighting Giovinazzi so hard, but the championship leader obviously put up a fight for a reason. He wants to get as many points as he can, and he still leads the championship, leaving this place, and what a fight it was. I'm not, annoyed at it. I mean, I am annoyed at it because we didn't win the race, but, I mean, what a race it was with Gio earlier, but, I was so close, but we just couldn't do it, and our team is yet to win, despite having such a quick car, a car that's now got 3 pole positions in 4 races. We're still yet to win a race this season, and Russell ends with a DNF. That's massive for him, as we now vault him by quite a considerable amount in the Drivers' Championship. The Constructors, Red Bull still lead the way by a decent margin to ourselves in second place, Mercedes third, Ferrari now catapult themselves up into P4, and despite Lotus Renault scoring points, Aston Martin scored more with Lance Stroll, and so they're both on 20 points, and not too far off AlphaTauri and Williams, so that's looking like brewing up to be a bit of a midfield insane battle between those 4 teams. You could probably kind of get McLaren in there as well, because McLaren, the reigning champions, have been woeful so far, so I think it may be what's that? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way fight from P5 down to P9 in the Constructors, and then Ferrari may look to try and chase after Mercedes, ourselves, and Red Bull maybe for a 4-way fight in the Constructors. I don't know. It's early days so far, so you still can't tell, but what an insane Monaco Grand Prix. That might be the craziest Monaco race we've had on this game so far. Guys, if you have enjoyed it, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.